You are in the Warriors Huddle with me, Bram, and with me, per usual, my master of all things video and sound, Maxime.
How's it going?
Maxime. Fuck, dude. First ever live reaction podcast. We are sitting here, minutes after the Warriors secured game 4. I don't mind telling you that shit cost me years off my life. I almost gave up multiple times. We watched the game together and kind of projected confidence as we were sitting there. But now that, we can be a little loose and transparent and it's going to be all positive. But before, did you let go of the rope at any point? How'd you feel tonight, dude? Did you give up at any stage?
A thousand times. And I feel like Bo also lost years off of his life. Bo, your dog, right, was just so stressed because he could read the stress on us. There were a couple of moments throughout the game that I said, shit, we don't have it, right? Because you go up, whatever it is, 13, and then you end up down 7 at the half. Not a good look.
So this is going to transition immediately into positive shit. The only segment we're doing is glass half fuck yes. So obviously it's going to be happy. But I thought about lying to you. I legitimately thought about being like, yeah, I was confident the whole time. Also, my dog, who could be an emotional support dog, spent the entire time hugging me in the way that a dog could. Would get up and smash his body against mine because I was so positive we were going to lose. But here we are. We're fine. The dog's not on me. We've won the game, dude. So here we go. The Warriors are now up 3-1 against one of the most hateable teams I can remember. I mean, recency bias. I take all of this shit way too serious. But the amount of faces I hate on that Houston Rockets team is ugly and almost indefensible. But let's get into it. All right, so glass half, fuck yes, look only at this last game. Game 4, Warriors now up 3-1. Give me something you like or didn't. I mean, we can be vulnerable now because they've won. So if there's things that stick out that you didn't enjoy, you can include that too. As you can imagine, I have a million with no real notes. Most of the time, I'm overly prepared for this shit, and that's not true now. So we'll see how it goes. I'll let you go first. What do you got?
Like you said, there was a lot I liked. We can get to the stuff that we didn't like in a little bit because we just won, so we got to celebrate a little bit. And I'm going to start it out with Brandon fucking Pajemski on both sides of the ball, hitting clutch threes throughout the game. That fall away three was fantastic, but then also doing lockdown defense on critical possessions, one-on-one against Fred VanVleet. That's the type of shit. He's been having a really nice series. I'm just so proud of the dude, and he's really stepping up in the biggest moments.
I will use this as an opportunity to get a don't out of the way. All right. What I don't. Watching Fred VanVleet hit open threes again. There's some PTSD fucking reaction from the whole Toronto shit. In the last couple games, he's been hitting it. The reason I can say it here, one of my favorite plays, is Pods blocking his shit. Right when we thought that Pods couldn't contribute more, right when we thought that, all right, dude, this is his best game, that fool tosses VanVleet's, push shot from about 8 feet out in one of the biggest defensive moments we can have. So let's fucking go. Here, I'll give you another unexpected take. You know what I like? Dylan Brooks. And I like Dylan Brooks. All right, here's what I like about him. Thank you, Dylan Brooks, because you woke up playoff Jimmy. Right when I thought that, Jimmy's hurt, okay, he's hurt. We've got limited mobility. This is what this series is going to look like. Maybe we can have some kind of magic. Dylan Brooks goes into his asshole bag and decides to poke the bear. And in fact, great opportunity. Last week when we recorded, we didn't understand the context of the Pray for the Bear take that Mark Spears reported from Jimmy Butler's agent. And since someone hit me up on social media and they told me that Kobe Bryant was famous for a take of, if you see me fighting a bear, quote unquote, pray for the bear. Well, that fucking thing came up to me today when Dylan Brooks decided to go and shithouse playoff Jimmy. And it went from, I'm worried. I'm not sure how is he going to help us to, yep, that is exactly why he's on this team. That's why he's on the team. This is what we needed. He's the designated driver again. He's taking the shots that we need. He's calming us down. So what do I like? Dylan Brooks' stupid ass and his act, his ongoing, won't I get under your skin act, backfiring in a way that nobody could have foreseen. So let's go. That a boy, Dylan.
100%. And I'll zag one more time too. Another thing I liked, 5 fouls on Draymond Green. It kind of calmed him down a little bit, right? I think sometimes he can cross the line and it's problematic, but there was that last block on Sengun, it was can we talk about this with, 13 seconds ago, they call a timeout. then the out of timeout play is this pass to Sengun for like a drive midi against Draymond. And like, that's why Steve Kerr pulled him out with 8 minutes into the third, so that he could come in with 5 fouls and defend the shit out of that. And then Jimmy Sky's in for the rebound. It was an absolutely fantastic final possession. But like, Ime, what are you doing, bro? Like, this is exactly when Draymond is at his best. When he's backed up against the wall and he knows that his team is counting on him, he's going to show up. We know that we can trust him to not foul out in that situation. So very excited for Draymond.
For anybody who has ever questioned Draymond Green's value to this team, who wasn't sure, who thought that he was riding as a backpack to Steph Curry's excellence, who thought that he lucked into 4 titles and everything that comes with it, watch the period of time between Draymond getting out of the game and coming back in. Sengun was fucking unstoppable. We couldn't do shit. He was the all-star we've seen all season. You know when he wasn't? When Dre was in. When Dre was in. We couldn't get a rebound in any way. It felt hopeless until Dre came back. It was what it was. This shouldn't be breaking news. He is a multi-time Defensive Player of the Year. He's a multi-time champion. But sometimes you don't really recognize his impact. And we saw it again here. Another thing I like. Here's the thing I didn't think I'd be saying into a microphone. Playoff healed. Let's fucking go. Jeez. Buddy healed. I can tell you, as a Warrior fan, I've watched a lot of players do the whole, no. Oh my God, yes. Buddy Hield's game tonight, couldn't have personified that more. Here's a fun fact. He causes me more stress than I care to admit. Every time he's like bringing the ball up the court, it's costing me years off my life. But tonight, in the fourth, he hit a 3 early in the shot clock. One of those terrible shots. Down it went. He is now my favorite clutch player. Let's go, Buddy Hield. He is my guy. I'm all the way in. Until next game, we'll see how it plays.
Yeah, watching him dribble into traffic, actually took years off my life per second. It's just, and yet here I am, absolutely celebrating Buddy alongside of you. Cannot be more excited. I feel like across the board, we saw some TJD minutes. They weren't fantastic, but it really felt like...
I'm going don't on the TJD minutes. I didn't like any moment of that. But can I tag on to the Draymond thing? Another thing I liked about Dre, I like when he stormed their huddle in the fucking first quarter. It's like petty bullshit. Like, I don't mind saying it's some petty stuff, but I enjoy watching it. I just liked it. I like that he was in there. If you don't want him there, save your huddles for the timeouts. It is what it is. We're allowed to stand there, and off he went, which was fantastic.
Yeah. It's sort of like Jimmy standing on the free throw line next to Dylan Brooks, just getting in. It's those sorts of little things that are like needling him. Or what was it? He had like locked arms with Sengun, and then he goes to the ref. He's like, no, come on. Like
Quentin Post.
Quentin Post.
That was so. Let's make it a dual all right, because we didn't get a chance to record after game 3, which is on me. But some things I liked from game 3, Quentin Post's attitude, and that play you're talking about, he legitimately locked up Sengun in one of the more aggressive offensive fouls we've seen for a little while. I guess it was an on the floor rebounding foul. But what it underlined is the mentality that Post has. It's going to take him some time. He's young and he's figuring out who he's going to become. But what we know right now is that he's not afraid. He's not afraid at all. And he's got that fuck you streak.
Yeah.
And that's not, you could bring in as many people as you want. You could have a teacher like Draymond Green who not only knows the dark arts, but is a genuinely good mentor. But if you don't have the predisposition to do that shit, it's not going to happen. Quentin Post has come in and is just down. Was immediately down to pull that dirty stuff. And I'm on board for it. I like it. Juxtapose him, for example, with TJD, who was fine tonight. I mean, he didn't really make an impact on the game, and it's unfair for him to be asked to make a difference after having not played for a while. But there was times where the moment felt a little big, and I didn't need him out there. I haven't felt like that for Quentin at all. Not once. Not once. He's even when he's shooting the airball threes, right. I'm still like, nope, he is the right call. So let's go, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one value of TJD is he showed just how terrible Alperen Sengun's beard actually was, because TJD had 3 games to bring his shit together, and Sengun did not show up tonight in the beard department.
It feels like Sengun, after multiple games throughout the year, has gone into the shower and picked up hair off the floor, and then now that he's in the playoffs, just glued it to his face. And he finally had enough. And he's like, you know what? I'm going with it. I'm going with the hair floor beard. And there he is. And off he's pulling. And credit to him, dude. He played phenomenally well, but there's not enough points to make that beard look okay. So I will include that in the things I do not like. Another thing I don't like. It's easier for me to say this now because had they lost, it comes off as sour grapes and indefensible.
Yeah.
The officiating is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. They're every single time the officials have an opportunity to look at a superstar, a game-changing legend, and screw him, they do with Steph Curry every time. That skirmish up front where they call the tech on both Dre and Steph after Steph got the ball ripped out of his hands by Dylan Brooks. The touch foul they called on the rebound that should have been a foul on Dylan Brooks on Jimmy, and instead they called on Steph. I have worn out this microphone saying this. I wish I had a rationale for it. I wish I could tell you this is why I think they're doing it. I don't understand it. The officiating is dog shit. And they beat them tonight. They beat the officials in addition to Houston. So another giant win.
Yeah. Did you also notice? I think it was early. We were like 10 up in the first quarter. Dylan Brooks straight karate chops into Steph's neck. I'm tired of it. But you're right. We don't need to belabor the point. I will just finish. I'll put a punctuation mark by saying, like, Draymond is just trying to break shit up and not start a fight here. And he gets a technical, and then Jabari Smith Jr. comes out of nowhere to like fly at Quentin Post, and somehow he's absolved from all of this. It just doesn't feel even-handed.
Here's a random thing I don't like, and just point of reference. Maxime joined me at my house today. Was nice enough to bring over some beers. We were making food, so off he did, and he brought some beers I generally like. The beers that Maxime brought, he refused to drink because he disliked them, which is a weird thing.
like 'em.
I find that to be it's a weird thing. I'm not sure what to do with that.
Me neither, frankly. I'm very disappointed. Look, I mean, I'm not, like, I'll cover it up, but here it is. We're drinking right now still. I thought it was a bad batch, and then luckily Bram had some more in his fridge because we both like this beer, and so then he grabbed me one of the ones from his fridge. It's just as bad. I think my taste has changed. Maybe this is some dad life.
Delicious beer. It's a delicious
Yeah,
beer. Back to basketball. I said before this series started that the person I would hate the most is Ime Udoka. And he has proven me right. There's been a number of things that drove me crazy, and that he's pushing this ugly style of basketball and asking his players to be as physical as possible. I understand where it's coming from, but it annoys me. The thing I liked in this game was Steve Kerr punking Ime. There was a moment where Steven Adams could not be kept off the boards. Just could not be kept off the board. There's nothing we could do. And so Steve puts in Loon, who has been tasked with just foul him. Go ahead, Loon. We need 5 fouls from you. They're not going to want to shoot free throws. They start doing that, and Ime reacts. He takes Adams out in a almost uncharacteristic way. You'd almost expect Udoka to be like, no, fuck you don't get to dictate. And watching Kerr, for all the Kerr haters out there, press the buttons he needed to get a player who was killing us off the floor, huge thing. It's a huge thing. And it comes with the kind of experience that the Golden State Warriors have. They go into that game and Kerr's got a bag of tricks, dude, and he reached into it. So another thing that was satisfying.
Yeah, and maybe this is sort of a subplot of all of this, but I love that Looney he does that role without a second thought. Like that should probably go to like a Trace Jackson Davis, right? Like Looney has the experience and the veteran savvy to not be the guy that's just being thrown in to foul him, but he's like, fuck it, this is my role right now. I'm going to make it happen because it's about the team win.
Based only on tonight, I'm glad it wasn't Trace Jackson Davis firing out the fouls. He didn't look real up to that. There might have been, I don't know, like an accidental flagrant or something. Let's see, another random correction. All right, so love Jimmy. On board for him, and I already told you how he contributed to this win. Love Steph as well. What I don't like, the Batman comparison. I'm out on it. I like that it's a Superman comparison. I like that. Batman's kind of a bunk superhero. I don't know if I'm the only person, and I understand that he had to pick somebody who had an immediate sidekick.
Yeah.
So that's where it is. But we should be talking Thor. Steph's a god. This isn't. It shouldn't be a small kind of thing. We should be a much larger. I don't know, superhero thing. So this felt like the place I could get it off my chest. I also want to say, and late apologies, we didn't get to record after game 3, but over however long we've been doing this podcast, I have said multiple times, one of the things that sets Steph apart is that he continues to surprise me. 4 titles, 2 MVPs, 73 wins, all the things that come with that. And still, there are moments when he does shit I have not seen. That game 3 win, put it in that book. A player who is known for incredible excellence, but also is known for being a little loose with the ball. Some bad turnovers. Goes into a game where they desperately need him. The only thing Houston was trying to do is trap him, double him, rush him, everything, force him into a turnover. 2 turnovers, the whole fucking of game 3. So the legend of Steph Curry deserves just another underline, just one more, man. What a privilege it is to have him in our life.
100%. And I think that's why I'm so excited about having Jimmy on the squad. You know, there are these moments where I think Jimmy actually had the quote. He's like, look, you take the good with the bad, right? You take the moments where the ball is loose because that's what allows us to have the free-flowing offense that we have. And I love that I'm no longer stressing out because, frankly, even in tonight's game, there were a couple of really sloppy passes that either led to turnovers or should have been turnovers from Steph's side of the ball. And, like, it's just so nice to not have to stress about my superstar needing to do everything because we have another superstar that's capable of doing the things that, you know, he's not the greatest at, and it allows them both to shine.
Can I grab you another hazy IPA? You look, we have a few, like 5 left.
So you really hate me that much that you were just willing to give me my least favorite beer of all time.
I mean, the beer you brought, it's the beer you fucking brought. It feels like a very fair thing. Venture into a topic that would have been harder had they lost. So, you know, it's not breaking news. Draymond has a bunch of fuck you relationships with Houston Rockets. One of those fuck you relationships is with Tari Eason, the guy he either accidentally or maybe not so accidentally kicked in the head today. When you look at that play, and this is ad hoc, we didn't plan on recording, so we don't have the normal video that we would have set up. If we did, we'd watch it now. When that happened, any portion of you feel like, you know, Draymond was doing... It was somewhat purposeful, you know, like did he deserve any of the flagrant, any of that, or was it just good, hard playoff basketball?
It is hard for me to look at that and think, first of all, if I was rooting for any of the other 29 teams in the association and I saw that play, how would I feel about it? I think we can leave that as a rhetorical question. The other thing is, frankly, I have never, in all of my time watching basketball, seen a man's legs just draped over another man's head. And it's just the likelihood of that happening accidentally is pretty small. You know what I mean?
My kid is in 4th grade now. So her homework has those things where you draw one line to the other. 2 times 2 equals, and then you find the 4 over here. You know, 15 divided by 3, you find the 5. You draw the lines that connect it. If you had given me one of those things, and on one side it said that Tari Eason got kicked in the head, and I had to I had to draw the line to the player who I thought it was. It's going to fucking Draymond, you know. So I'm not telling you that I think it was on purpose, you know. I'm not like, who knows how that went, but it's not shocking. It's not terribly shocking that that's how it went down. Also, it's a little satisfying. As it happened, it wasn't. You know, we're already on the other side of some Draymond freakouts. It felt like maybe he would get kicked out. And I've already told you what he means to the team. So had we lost him, we lose this game. But now that we're on the other side and we've won it, you know, I like that it happened. Let's go. So again, 4 titles. We have watched not only through the dynasty, I have hated teams for the better part of 3 decades. I've spent much too much of my life investing emotionally on a night-by-night basis. So like disliking another team, it's not new. And this is recency bias. But the anger that this team makes me feel, Houston makes me feel, on an almost play-by-play basis, it's unbelievable. It's almost hard to fucking define, dude. Even when Dillon Brooks is not making plays, even when he's not fouling anybody, if he's just standing there talking with somebody, I get like a weird anger. Same thing with Tari Eason. Same thing with Ime Udoka. I don't have that hatred for Jalen Green because I think he might be playing for us. But like the other people, like they fucking drive me crazy, dude.
Wow. Yeah. You're right on Jalen Green. And it's so sad because it's sort of like, how Steve Kerr was saying, oh, let Dillon Brooks have a couple of great shots go in early on because then he's going to want to start shooting it. I feel like that's what happened with Jalen Green on the series. He had a great game too. And now it's like, oh yeah, keep trying. Go ahead. Like give it your best.
How much do you have invested emotionally in this next game? So for people who may not remember, Maxime has the Warriors in 5. We are now 1 away. They're going back to Houston. So do you like, if they don't win it, will you feel like it's like an overall loss? Like, are you all the way in now that you're this close to the prediction going right? Because it's still not going to happen. It's going to be fucking Warriors in 6. That's what's ultimately going to go down. But I mean, you tell me, how are you feeling about this?
Yeah, you're like, just because that's what you picked, you're rooting for the Warriors to lose another game. Like,
nobody's rooting for it.
Sad-ass
No one's fucking rooting for that. I would like them to be in 5. I'm just telling you what I think is going to happen. Okay. It's the same prediction.
Even if you're listening and not watching the YouTube right now, you can hear the fucking glee in Bram's voice. So
how could they see the gleam in my voice? That fucking take doesn't even make any sense. You can fuck yourself. Hey, back to the vulnerability. Yeah. How are you feeling? Are you worried or?
As I said, if Jimmy Butler didn't go down in game 2, this might have been a sweep. And I'm honestly not. I'm still pretty confident in that. Frankly, vulnerability withstanding, I am worried. I am nervous because this is such a physical series. They're bumping and bruising our guys. And maybe I should have taken this into account when I was thinking about I would give you my prediction of Warriors in 5. It's bruising. It's an intense game, and it's not that they're playing basketball on an equal footing than us. We are the better basketball team. They just have like more young bodies that they're willing to throw out. Like I ran in high school. And when I would run in high school, I occasionally would hit a root and roll my leg, and I would roll my ankle, right? And it would hurt, and then I would get up the next day and I would go out and run again, no problem. Now that I'm in my 30s, I roll my ankle and I'm out for weeks. You know what I mean? It's the same shit. Like, young bodies just last longer, and that's what has me worried, especially at home court. I said that it would go Warriors in 5. I said we would lose game 3. We ended up losing game 2 instead of game 3, but that's because Jimmy was out. I'm a little bit nervous. I'm going to stick to it because, like Zach Lowe, I don't change my predictions. I do think that we are very capable of going in, and I think because they are seeing the Lakers-Minnesota series go long, because they are seeing the Oklahoma City sweep, and they're saying, oh my God, we would like to be much more able to have the time off and watch this other game go 6 or 7, I think they're going to try as hard as they fucking can to win it in Houston.
What I don't like... this team has already shown us. Let me start that over. Let me start it with a compliment. If I'm Ime Udoka, and I think that the only chance I possibly have is that these guys play in a ridiculous, physical, relentless style, I'd probably push the same thing. I get where it's coming from. But since I'm not Ime Udoka and I'm rooting for a team that means more to my emotional well-being than I care to fucking admit, I hate watching that. The thing I'm worried about in this next game isn't the Warriors' ability to finish the series. They know how to close. Sure. I love that. But a team that is already playing dirty as fuck, now being desperate at home, what that means, I don't like. One of the things I was going to show here, if we had the videos ready, is there was a quote right before game 3. They asked Udoka about his interactions with fans, because people have been talking shit online. And he said, I love to walk the cities. And so far, they're more brave online than they are in person. What he was saying is that they're not attacking me. The idea, a coach who would say that, like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, do you expect people to just bum rush you? Like, why would that happen? 2, you're walking around the 4 seasons. If you want funk, go to fucking Oakland. But finally, 3, if that's the coach's mentality, if the coach is literally casually saying, I think it's ridiculous, the fans aren't fighting me, what he's going to tell that team going into this next game is we'll see how it plays out. So that's the thing I don't like about this next setup. I still think we close. We're up 3-1. Like I'm all good, but I'm a little worried about how dirty these next games can get. But the final thing, or another thing I really like, is beating a team full of assholes. Like the emotional involvement that they've helped me realize above and beyond if the Warriors were playing this pen, I'd be emotionally involved, but they're playing a group of, dicks, dude. So I am all the way in. What a huge win.
Huge win. And also, I mean, we have a lot of history with Houston in general. It also, maybe this is sort of a weird zag, but it makes me realize how much I like Steven Adams. That guy's just like a stone cold chiller the whole time. I'm not enjoying playing against him, but I'm realizing how much I hate literally everybody else involved with this franchise. And then I'm like, that guy's kind of tight.
If aliens came down, he's a little old now, But it used to be if aliens came down and like they wanted to fight like Earth's champion, you know, it was like we needed to have a fight to the death, and if we won, we avoided like alien slavery. Steven Adams would be one of the people I'd consider. Like again, he's a little bit older now, but that dude does not give one shit in any way. So props to him. How does this change your prediction? We've done this every time, right? Each game we revisit. Really, this is an invitation for you to do a victory lap, which I'm not a huge fan of. But, you know, it's what it is. How, if in all, does this change your prediction?
It doesn't. It doesn't. I mean, there are situations where this game could go back to Chase Center. Those situations are because we're playing 5 versus 8, because somebody's getting hurt. I think if this game is officiated fairly, there's just Steph Curry.
Pretty big if.
Well, 100%. And I think that's what's frustrating, but it's also like you can't go into a series prediction and say, well, Jimmy Butler is going to get taken out by Ammon Thompson and be out for the entirety of game 2, the entirety of game 3 and most of game 2. Like, you just can't. You have to expect good health. You have to expect the refs to have just like a median game, which so far I haven't felt like they've had. But they gave Draymond a flagrant when they probably should have given him another technical, though they shouldn't have given him the first one. So I contend that it's because they fucked up and gave him the first one for just trying to be a peacekeeper. But nonetheless, there's a little give and take with these refs. But nonetheless, that's all to say, Warriors in 5.
Another thing I liked, actually, and then I'll go back to the prediction, which you just nailed. So I hated how that fucking 2 technicals to 1 technical, that was bullshit. But later on, when the refs looked at it and they decided to give Dre a flagrant as opposed to a tech, it screamed, we know who you are. We know what your reputation is. We're not going to throw you out. We're not. You know, and so like credit to Dre to get them there. How does this change my prediction? It does not at all. It's always been Warriors in 6. It continues to be Warriors in 6. If they pull it off in 4, dope city. But, you know, if not, then I'll be right. I've got no problem with that. Last question. How awkward is it sharing a single screen? Because we have not done this shit for like real long time. We got used to the whole being able to make eye contact through Zoom. There hasn't been a lot of live records. Feels weird sitting this close to you. So like, is it weird for you too, or you're okay?
It's weird. It is definitely weird. We've like looked at the real other person a couple of times. Not sure. But I think there is video record of us doing this prior in your home at one point, and it was a fucking nightmare. And we were constantly looking at each other, and we didn't know. So like, listen, just the level of upness that we've got going on. Yeah. Got brand new mic up in here, so now we're both sounding hopefully pretty good. I think it's a much better situation in general.
I blamed you for the first one. I did blame you for the first one. We are much better now, so it played out. Last thing, shout-outs to DVDV, B Green, and JTLO8 for catching us on the live stream here. Also, shout out to everyone who's a portion of our Patreon family. We love you. It means the world to us. If you'd like to join that and have live takes with us, left and right, be able to interact during the games, whatever it is, we appreciate you. Specific shout out to Jonathan. You are the man. Welcome aboard. We can't wait to interact with you. With that in mind, go Warriors. And hopefully we'll see you real soon.